We bought into a lie that says the ultimate goal of a Christian is just to be a nice person. You know the type. Agreeable, never stepping on toes, always keeping the peace even when the house is burning down. But look at the Gospels. Jesus was rarely nice. He didn't hand out polite smiles to people destroying themselves. No, he flipped tables. He called religious hypocrites whitewashed tombs. He spoke hard truths that made people furious. Why? Because nice is about making people feel comfortable, but biblical love is about pulling people out of the fire. When we settle for nice, we coward out. We withhold the truth just to protect our own image. We let people walk right off a cliff because we are terrified of being called judgmental. The stakes are too high for this fake polite culture. If you want to follow Christ, you have to wake up and realize love is not weak. Love is fierce. Let's get one thing straight right now. There's a massive difference between being nice and being loving. Nice is polite. Nice wants everyone to get along. Nice smiles and nods when a friend makes a decision that'll destroy their life. Why? Because nice wants to be liked. But love? Love wants what's best for the other person, even if it costs you the relationship. Think about Jesus with the rich young ruler in Mark chapter 10, verse 21. The text says Jesus looked at him and loved him. And then what did he do? Did he validate the man's lifestyle? Did he give him a high five? No. He told him to sell absolutely everything he owned. He hit the man right in his deepest idol. Jesus lost a follower that day because he chose love over being nice. We've watered down the gospel to fit into modern manners. We think if we just bake enough cookies and smile enough, the world will be saved. But real love is confrontational. Real love steps into the mess. When you read Matthew chapter 23, you see Jesus looking dead in the eyes of the religious leaders. He called them snakes, blind guides, whitewashed tombs. That doesn't sound like the gentle Jesus, meek and mild that we see on Sunday school walls. He was screaming, "Wake up," to people walking blindly toward hell. So ask yourself this: are you keeping your mouth shut because you love your friends or because you love yourself? We hate the awkward tension. We hate being the bad guy. We hate the idea that someone might cancel us or block our number. So we choose our own comfort. We watch them walk into destruction and we whisper, "Well, I just need to love them from a distance." That isn't love. That's apathy disguised as grace. If you really care about someone, you'll tell them the truth. You'll risk the friendship to save the soul. Now, some of you might be hearing this and getting excited. You're thinking, "Great, I finally have permission to blast everyone with the truth." But hold on. Jesus wasn't nice, but he also wasn't a jerk. He wasn't aggressive just for the sake of winning a theological debate. He didn't drop truth bombs just to watch the explosion. Look at Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15. Paul tells us we have to speak the truth in love. Those two things are not opposites. They are a matched set. If you just have truth without love, you are just loud. You are a clanging cymbal. You're using the Bible as a club to smash people over the head and make yourself feel morally superior. That isn't righteous, that's pride. But if you only have love without truth, like we talked about, you're just fake. You are handing out band-aids to people who need open heart surgery. Jesus knew exactly what the person in front of him needed. When he met the Samaritan woman at the well in John chapter 4, he didn't coddle her. He brought up her 5 husbands. He deliberately exposed her deepest, darkest secret. But he didn't do it to shame her. He did it to offer her living water. His truth was a surgeon's scalpel, cutting out the disease so the patient could actually live. So when we speak truth to people we care about, it must break our own hearts. If you are eager to point out someone's sin, if you actually enjoy dropping the hammer on them, you aren't acting like Jesus. You're acting like the Pharisees. True biblical love steps into the messy, uncomfortable conversations with tears in its eyes. It says, "I am telling you this because your life matters to me. I am risking this rejection because I cannot watch you destroy yourself. Do not use truth as a weapon. Use it as a rescue rope." So what happens when you actually start living this out? When you stop being nice and start being loving? You are going to get pushback. Real love costs you something. People will call you intolerant. They will say you are bigoted. Listen to Jesus in John chapter 15, verse 18. He says, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. They didn't crucify Jesus because he was a nice guy who just wanted to hang out. They nailed him to a tree because his truth exposed their darkness. We are so desperate for the applause of the culture. We want the world to look at the church and say, wow, what nice people. But that's a massive trap. If we are perfectly in sync with a culture that is running away from God, we have lost our saltiness. Do not compromise the gospel just to keep a seat at the table. We need the courage to stand in the gap and hold the line. It is going to hurt. You might lose friends. Your family might completely misunderstand your motives. They might distance themselves from you. But you have to ask yourself, whose approval are you living for? Are we following a crucified king, or are we just trying to win a popularity contest? True biblical love means you care more about where someone will spend eternity than whether or not they invite you to their next party. It takes guts. It takes Holy Spirit boldness to look someone in the eye and speak a hard truth. But if we won't do it, who will? So where do we go from here? It's time to stop playing it safe. We have to ditch the fake polite routine and start loving people enough to tell them the truth. The world is desperate for the real Jesus, the one who brings light into the darkest places, even when it hurts. If this message hit home for you, share this video with one friend who needs the courage to speak up right now, and subscribe to the channel. We are building a community of believers who refuse to water down the gospel. People who want to love fiercely and live boldly. Do not settle for being nice. Stand up, speak the truth, and go love somebody today.